I majored in sports business with a minor in business administration. I had applied to the Freedom, and since I still knew people there, fell into a position in all of about 2 hours that I didn't even apply for. Worked my tail off, was lucky enough to be able to be hired on at the end of the 2018 season. From there, took over mini plans, season ticket accounts, and some other smaller things, and just kept grinding at it. Was lucky enough to continue to grow in the position and take on a little bit more responsibility here and there up until this past off season when I was offered the position of sales executive, overseeing quite a lot more than I ever had before, and then also director of amateur baseball, kind of spearheading the charge for a new division or a growing division of our business and doing what we can with that. I kind of got into that field just learning that I wanted to explore what sports was. I started coming to Florence Freedom games back when we were the Freedom when I was very young, probably about 10 years old, and spent the better part of 5 or 6 summers here at least, and got to see the inner workings of the organization and learn about all the moving parts that are behind the scenes that you don't necessarily think about that going into making a game happen. And then also around that time is when the movie Moneyball came out, and there was renewed interest in that. So all I wanted to be was a general manager making the trades like Billy Beane was in the book and the movie. I would start by saying that really there is no typical day or week on the job. It just kind of depends on what is on the schedule for that particular week. It's a little bit easier to answer than when we're in the off season because we're working our traditional 9 to 5 hours. We're spending a lot of time on the phone or meeting with clients and doing all sorts of conversations with them to get prepped for the coming season that would start the next year. And so we're doing a lot of recapping and meeting with them and conversations just to try and build up our show and our experience as much as we can. Once we get into the season, though, it changes a little bit. It's basically we're into overdrive, executing everything that was put into motion before then. And that's not to say that we aren't still selling or putting together events, because we are, but it's a lot more of, once we get through that first half of our day, then we're going into game day mode and we're getting everything ready to make sure that we are ready and primed to go for when we start welcoming fans in here. So it's a little bit of both during the season. And then there's a lot longer hours, of course, too. But suffice it to say that there really is no typical day. There really isn't, especially when you've got different promotions and different people coming in and, different folks making their way into the ballpark each night. It changes constantly. So we just got to be ready for whatever's thrown at us at that particular moment. Most satisfying aspects for me are definitely seeing a family's or a group outing or whoever the person is, just seeing their reactions to what we've got going on during the game, or being able to take care of them and help make sure that they have an incredible experience during their time with us. That's really one of the other reasons why I got into this field too. I remember what it was like coming to these games night after night and how much fun I had. And I think for me, more than anybody in our office, just because I have that history here that my coworkers do not, and that's not a knock against them, it's just the way that it is. Knowing that experience and wanting to create it for others is what drives me day after day, whether it's something I'm working on with one of our games or it's something I'm working on with our youth league or a tournament, whatever. It's seeing their reactions and seeing the kid with a smile on his face when he gets an autograph from a player or he just hit a home run in a tournament, whatever the case may be. It makes you happy in a way that you really can't describe and makes all those long hours worth it. I think that probably the biggest changes we would see are in the way that we communicate with our fans, just with the ever expanding world of social media and how that changes from day to day, and being able to promote different things to them, reach fans that we never have before, and getting them in here into the ballpark. And then also the types of things that we do. I don't know if any of you've ever been to a minor league baseball game before, but it's not like your traditional major league game, because there's a lot more latitude to be able to do fun things between innings, like a giant inflatable eyeball race is one that we do, sponsored by an optometrist, Dr. Julie Metzger. Those are the types of things that we can do on a nightly basis. And with the expanding world of technology and just the different things that we're able to do in stadium, it opens up a lot more opportunities as well for us to have really creative advertising and partnership opportunities for local businesses to get into the eyes and minds of the consumer that is here watching a baseball game in ways that you don't really get with traditional static advertising, like a mailer or a phone call or an email. The best example I can give you, and this is one that's tried and true from the moment we opened this place, was every time there's a foul ball that exits the stadium, you hear the sound effect of shattering glass, followed by, if it breaks or cracks, call Jacks. That's the type of thing that we can provide, and I only see that expanding as the forms of new media and just continued innovation and new ideas on the part of our staff continue to grow. A couple of things. First and foremost, I think that you need to be motivated, driven, whatever combination of those words that you want to use, just because there's so many long hours in a field like this, especially working for a small minor league club like we are. And so there's a lot of long hours, and you are putting in a grind. It doesn't really end when you leave the ballpark for the evening, even sometimes, because you're thinking about what will happen the next day and what you need to get done to make sure that tomorrow's events go off without a hitch, or whatever the case may be. So being able to come in every day with a positive attitude and ready to attack what you have in front of you for the sake of the rest of your team, as well as the fans, and making sure that they're taken care of on a nightly basis, whether it's just a family coming in for the first time, a group outing, or whatever. Being able to, come in and be ready for that is huge. Also, playing into that would be organizational skills, just because you are wearing so many hats and juggling so many things all at once. You want to make sure that the ball doesn't get dropped, because you don't have a second chance to be able to come in and say, hey, sorry, let's rewind this. The damage would have already been done. And then you've got to work on rebuilding that bridge. And then I guess the other one would be just a customer service first mindset and wanting to work with people and take care of them. Because again, whether they've been here one time or for the first time, or they've been here for 100, if something goes wrong, you're going to hear about it. And that's a customer you might not get back again. And not even from the fact that you're losing a customer, that's somebody that you don't want to disappoint. And so just being willing to, even when things do go wrong, just sit there and say, hey, let's make this right. I want to do right by you. That is the type of mentality you need. And it's going to pay you back tenfold, because not only are you going to get great experiences and create great experiences for people, the type of relationships you can build with those clients as a result of those things is awesome as well. So in the sports industry, there's a couple different ways that you can go. First and foremost is for professional teams of all levels, whether they're a independent team like us, or affiliated ball, or one of the major league teams, teamwork online. That's what all the major organizations use, from anything for internships to full-time positions. And the cool thing about that is that there's also capability for, once you create a profile and list your experiences, it has an algorithm that will, point your profile out to executives working for teams that match those criteria that you have listed and what they're looking for. So you can even have people from teams reach out to you in addition to applying for jobs yourself. And so that's a really cool feature. And then in addition, you have, for college athletics, there's a couple of different platforms that they use as well. And those will be specifically, for college jobs. But I will say, for college athletics, 9 times out of 10, you're going to need a master's degree to get into it, just because that's anything in a university setting. So that is one thing to think about there. So if you're looking to go the college route, one of the best things you can do is also look for graduate assistantships working for an athletic department so that you can get your master's degree covered while getting experience working in a department somewhere. And then from there, hopefully, land your next opportunity. I think when you go into a field like this, you go into it expecting that there are going to be long hours going from night after night, just because that's the nature of the business. I mean, your prime open time is everybody else's leisure time once they're off of work or on a weekend. So that wasn't any surprise to me, but just being able to manage that, especially early on, and make sure that you're being taken care of personally while also still fulfilling your obligations here is something I wish I would have known. Outside of that, I wish that I would have known, work on things to work on, like improving communication skills, because 9 times out of 10 in your first job in sports, you're going to be selling something. And while we're on that note, that also doesn't carry the same stigma as I think sales oftentimes does. So don't be so wary of that from the beginning. That's just a little piece of advice there, because oftentimes sales can be fun if you go into it with the right mindset and you're actually, working with products that you're passionate about. So improving communication skills, fine-tuning organizational skills, and just making sure that in the thick of it, you're taking care of yourself. So that way you can be fit, you can physically and mentally feel good while still being at your best to be able to serve your organization and your clients. I can't speak to those enough. You need to be able to do that. First and foremost, internships. That's the best piece of advice I can give you, because sports is an absolutely crazy world. And 9 times out of 10, if you tell somebody what you went through in an absolutely crazy day with your team and your staff, they probably wouldn't believe you. So internships are important because it's unlike any work environment that you're going to see. So you're going to learn the behind the scenes aspects and make sure that you're cut out for the work that you're going to be doing, because some people get into it and they realize, this wasn't quite what I thought it was, or, I like having my weekends, that sort of thing. But also it shows those organizations that you're going to be applying for eventually that, you are primed and ready to go, and you do have the experience it takes to not only do your job, but rock it. And then outside of that, when you have an internship, put everything you can into it. Oftentimes in sports, you're not going to make much, if anything. And that's just kind of the cold, hard truth of the industry, unfortunately. But if you come in and say that you're here with us, like if you were here with our organization for an entire summer and I don't even know your name when you're done, I mean, what are you doing to set yourself apart? Because those teams, we communicate with each other. And so if you have an internship here, you don't make yourself known, or you make yourself known even worse for the wrong reasons, and then go to another team and they call us because we have a mutual connection there or whatever, it's not going to bode very well for you. But on the other side of the coin, if you are coming in every day with high energy, ready to work and get after it and do whatever you need to do and contribute, your experience is going to pay for itself tenfold. And that's probably putting it lightly. You're going to set yourself up very nicely for opportunities moving forward. Keep doing what you're doing, because this is an unprecedented time. So just keep working at it. It's all going to pay off, even though it's not typically what you're used to or what you hoped your college experience might be. But also take advantage of the resources around you. Make sure that you're taking care of yourself, again, so that you can make the most of your college experience, make friendships, make important, vital connections for your professional side, and also get the most out of your experience that you can. And then also just do what you can to get involved, because you're going to meet all sorts of incredible people, and you never know who is going to be the one who can help you land that job, or who knows somebody at that team that you really want to work for. And then on top of that, you're just going to continue building those transferable skills that no matter what career field you end up in are going to benefit you regardless, again, of what you're doing.